Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish. They that were foolish took their lamps, and took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, Give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out. But the wise answered, saying, Not so, lest there be not enough for us and you. But go ye rather to them that sell, and buy for yourselves. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not. Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh.
Thank you. So Emma, can you just give a summary of what you just seen, what you just took from that?
There's a group of 10 virgins who go forth to meet part of this wedding party that are meeting the bridegroom for this wedding. 5 of them are foolish and 5 of them are wise, and they take oil and in their lamps, and the wise take extra oil. And there's a delay. They fall asleep. They wake up to a cry saying, Behold, the bridegroom cometh. And then they start to trim their lamps. And the foolish realize that their lamps have gone out, and they ask for oil to the wise. And the wise say, No, we can't share with you because we won't have enough. So go and buy some oil at the marketplace. Or go to them that sell it anyway, and get some oil for yourselves. So the foolish go off to buy the oil, and in that time the bridegroom comes, and the wise ones who are ready go in with him, and the door is shut. They go into the marriage with him, and the door is shut. And then afterwards the foolish come back, and they say, Lord, Lord, open to us. They presume they're knocking on the door. But he answered and he said that he doesn't know them, and then gives this warning at the end. Watch, because you don't know what hour the Son of Man's going to come.
So verse by verse.
Pretty much. Summary. There's 2 groups. One goes into the wedding and one doesn't. Sorry.
Okay then.
Just trying to see if there's any more in there.
So we're going to look at this parable more closely, because this has like been one of those parables what's had an impact upon the movement. So Magda.
Yes.
So if we look at verse 1, it says, Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto. Then tells me that, okay, there's some context to this. But we won't look at the previous verses because that's a different topic. But it's telling us the kingdom of heaven is likened unto. And according to verse 1, what is the kingdom of heaven likened unto?
Unto 10 virgins. So that's compare and contrast.
So
it's compared. It's comparing.
Yeah.
So then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom.
So it's likened unto, these are 10 virgins or 10 unmarried women, yeah? And what are these?
They have each. They took their lamps, so they have each of them lamp, and went forth to meet the bridegroom.
So what are they doing? So they both have lamps, yeah? So they both take their lamps. So we're breaking down this parable. We're seeing what it's telling us, what it means, verse by verse. So what we're seeing so far in verse 1 is the kingdom of heaven is likened unto 10 virgins, and these 10 likened unto these 10 virgins. So we're going to have a story, and the story is going to unpack as we go along in the verses. So first, what we get so far is these 10 virgins Did I say he took their lamps?
Which took their lamps. Yeah.
Okay, so they took their lamps. They took their lamps, and they went forth. So they went where they're going?
To meet the bridegroom.
So go to meet bride. So they go to meet the bridegroom, yeah. This unmarried man, yeah. This man who's about to get married. So they both go to meet the bridegroom. Okay then. So Magda, you mentioned compare and contrast.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want you to do, I won't actually know, but if you keep an eye on that little principle right there throughout this parable, because you may see some more, yeah? So just be ready for when I call you again. I think we may see it in every verse. So, Sister Cedri.
Yeah.
So, if you tell me what is verse 2 telling us?
Out of the 10, there's 5 that are wise and 5 that are foolish.
So 5 of these women are foolish. Oops, okay, so there's 5 foolish, yeah?
5 wise person and then foolish.
Okay then. So according to verse, so we haven't got much information of what group the foolish belong to. Because right now they look the same. They all have lamps, they get lamps, and they all go to meet the bridegroom. So they all look the same, yeah?
Yeah.
Draw a line here. So far they look the same. So 5 are wise, 5 are foolish. So they look the same. So let me just put foolish on this side. 5, no. Let me put foolish, yeah.
Don't want
Hmm?
to do it now. It says wise first. I don't know.
Did it say wise first?
Yeah,
Okay.
just being pernickety.
5 wise, 5. So half of them are wise, the other half are foolish. So my question is, why are they? Why are the foolish foolish and why is the wise wise? I cannot get an answer, so not yet. So Debbie,
Yes. It tells us in the next verse the answer to that answer.
so if you break down the next verse then?
It says that the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. So the wise is obviously the 5 out of the 10. So the 5, if the 5 took oil, then the other 5 didn't. Because it doesn't say 10 took oil, it said the 5 wise took oil in their vessels. with
Okay,
their lamps.
you're jumping. Verse 3.
She's in compare and control.
So let's. Okay, so what you're doing in verse 3 is.
No, verse 4. I can't.
No, you jumped a verse.
Oh, sorry. Oh,
Thought she got it.
so
You got it, but you're taking some jumps.
oh, sorry. Number 3. Sorry, I thought I was reading before. Sorry.
I thought
They
she was
that were
reading into it.
foolish took their lamps and took the oil with them. So the foolish took their lamps, but they were missing the oil.
So they took their lamps.
Yeah,
Without the oil,
without the oil.
and they set out on their journey
Yes,
to meet the bridegroom.
yes,
So they took no oil.
yeah.
So for this is a picture of the. No, that's.
That should be the foolish.
Didn't read the comment.
They took no oil. So this is a picture so far of the foolish, yeah? So, verse 4, Debbie.
But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. So now it's saying that the wise took oil with their lamps.
What else?
Because it says that the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps.
Did it say in their vessels or with their vessels?
In their vessels.
So what's the difference do you see between these two so far now and then?
Well, one's missing the oil. One's got oil, and one hasn't.
So one took hold of the oil before the journey,
Yeah.
and one group they didn't get any oil, basically. So now we're starting to see the difference between the two groups by what they do. Yeah. Well, or by their preparation. We see the difference by their preparation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what.
The West of
But they're also introducing a vessel here.
Yeah. So far, we see a difference now by how they prepared. So, difference in preparation to go and meet the bridegroom. Yeah. Is there anything else we can bring out of that?
Maybe just the methodology. So I think in the verse 2, so there was, we could see the repeat and enlarge. No, is it in verse 3? No, in verse 2 or, no, in verse 3.
Yeah.
So there is repeat and enlarge, because there is explanation of the foolish, and then in the, of the wise, and of course like compare and contrast, that's there all the time, yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of explaining why they're foolish. First he says they're foolish, then he goes to give more information of what this foolishness looks like.
Yeah.
Basically. And it looks like these, you're supposed to take oil, but you didn't take any oil. These are called wise. They take out, because, why are they wise? Because they take oil in their vessels. Why are they foolish? Because they have no oil. And then you can just predict, because of this action, you can just predict cause and effect. This is going to end up bad, just by looking at this. It says, but these didn't take any oil. You can just predict the outcome. There's going to be two different outcomes you can predict so far without even reading it. You got wise and foolish. Got foolish decisions, wise decisions. There's two outcomes. You know, like good and evil. It's like two paths, basically. They lead down different directions. Or they give different results. So we're going to see the results. We're going to see different results. We're just going to see cause and effect. That's what we're going to see. I'm predicting that now. Oh no.
And I think just put it away. Whoops.
Oops. Is the camera still on?
It is. Yeah. It went
Still
up.
recording?
It went up. Now it's recording it.
Okay.
The
Very
sound's
good.
going up and down. Yeah. I'm flashing right down.
Okay.
I think verse 4 is repeating and enlarging from 3 as well, because you get more information, because you get the vessel added in now. Because in verse 3 it says the foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them, and if you don't really know from that whether they've got these lamps with no oil in at all. So the lamp, you don't know if the lamps are alight or not, but you know they've got lamps and you know they haven't got any oil. It looks like they might not have any oil at all. But verse 4, that took no oil.
Yeah.
But then this verse 4, it says, it makes it clear that they've got lamps and vessels with oil, but the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps.
Yeah.
So they've got these vessels.
How to please Emma.
Sorry, they've got these vessels with oil in as well as the lamp. So, and if we do compare and contrast, we know then that the foolish have got a lamp, but they don't have an extra vessel with oil in. So we can see that this oil is something separate from the lamp because it's in a vessel in verse 5.
Right.
4, sorry. 4,
Oh,
yeah.
right, yeah.
So
Amen.
say that again.
So we can see that because when you first read the verse 3, it says the foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. And if you know this is an oil lamp, you think they may just have an empty lamp with them with no oil at all in it. But so you're not quite sure what the situation is when it just says they took no oil. But then in verse 4 it says, but the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. So they've got this oil in vessels with their lamps. So they've got lamps as well, but they've got this extra vessel with oil in. So this shows, I think, that both could still have oil in the lamp, but it's talking about extra oil. So it would make more sense in verse 4 if it said, in verse 3, they that were foolish took their lamps and took no extra oil with them. Because just by saying they've got a lamp, it's almost like, in their culture, it's probably done without saying, when you've got a lamp, it's got oil in it, otherwise it's not a lamp, you know. So, but for us in the West, we're thinking, well, they've got no oil, how can they even light the lamp? But it makes it clear here in verse 4 because it says a vessel separate from the lamp, so that they've got extra oil, implying it's the foolish have got no extra oil.
So could we say can we predict there's something to do with this extra, having this extra oil? Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's gonna have it's gonna have some effect. Verse 5. So Magda.
Yes. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. While bridegroom tarried, so I would say, I'm not sure if is it cause and effect, or is it not?
So the bridegroom tarried. So what is tarried? What is that? What?
Like wasn't coming, like yeah,
So yes.
like waited, like yeah, wasn't coming.
So in the Strong's it says delayed.
Mhm.
So can I put this now? So let me see this. There's a delay. So there's a delay, and because of this delay, what happens because of this delay?
They all slumbered and slept.
So slumbered in the Strong's it would say to nod off, or like to fall asleep.
Mhm.
So they slumbered and slept. So it's a process. It seems like they must be waiting then. You don't walk and sleep. There must be somewhere to nod off and fall asleep. So they're waiting, and there's a delay. So that means during this wait, they all slumber. They all have the same experience. Nod off. And then they both, the comparison, they both sleep. So because of this, like what you said, Magda, cause and effect. Am I right to say that?
Yeah, I think so.
Because of this, they're waiting longer,
Mhm.
and then during that wait, it must have been a process of time. They start to get tired, and then they all fall asleep. So they're all sleeping. Yeah. 6. So they look the same. having the same experience. They're both here waiting, and they're falling asleep. But they're having the same experience, but they're carrying different things. They have, one group has oil, extra oil, one group doesn't. Yeah. So their preparation looks different so far, but the experience, it all looks the same. But we're going to see there must be a change in their experience where it's going to start looking different. So verse 6. What's verse 6 telling us?
At midnight a cry was made.
And what was that cry?
Behold, the bridegroom cometh. Go ye out to meet him.
Who makes this cry?
Doesn't tell us here. I mean, I know who's doing it, but it doesn't. I mean, looking at it, it doesn't tell you who's.
You know who's doing it?
It doesn't tell you who's doing it, does it?
No. Does it, Emma?
No.
So verse 6. There's a cry. Behold, the bridegroom cometh. So the bridegroom, okay, so there's no more delay and he's out of his delay. He's coming. Let me have this book coming. There's a cry saying, behold, the bridegroom cometh. Go ye out to meet him. He's coming now, so go and meet him. Yeah. Continue what you set out to do. So continue on this journey. Well, that's if the... Well, I don't know actually. The bridegroom may be coming to them. So, verse 7. So, verse 7. He wants to look at verse 7. What did all the virgins do?
They all arose and trimmed their lamps.
Why did they arise?
Because a cry was made.
So they're asleep,
Then it's called
Yes,
and then this cry wakes them up.
yes. I was just trying to. Can I just say something? You know the fact that Emma made the point that one lot of virgins had extra oil. I don't know if that had anything to do with it.
What, to this?
Yeah.
Um,
I'm trying to say if we can sort of make who was doing it. Come on, you go on. It's all right. Okay.
so somebody outside of these 10 virgins, they see or know that the bridegroom's coming, and they give a cry and a shout, go meet the bridegroom. And then these hear the cry, they get awakened. So they awake, they arose, and then what else did they do?
They trimmed their lamps.
So they both look the same, yeah?
Yes.
So now we're getting back onto this subject of the lamps. Yeah. So, verse 8. So Magda.
Yes, verse 8. And the foolish said unto the wise, give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out. So the foolish says to the wise, give us of your oil. So they got out of they ran out of the oil. Also, this, I don't know if you mentioned that, I haven't realized, but in verse 6 and 7 we saw that again cause and effect.
6 and
I
7.
think.
Oh,
Because
okay.
there was the
Yeah.
cry made, so they all arose. So I would say that's cause and effect, isn't it?
Okay.
It says then as well.
Where does it say then?
It says then at the beginning of verse 7.
Oh, yeah. So what you said. So what you're saying, the cause and effect, because it says also it says, there's a cry made. Go meet the bridegroom. Go meet him. Then all the virgins arose. So what the cause of this awakening was the cry. Is that what you're saying, Magda?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when they arise, they trim their lamps. So they're doing something. They both do the same thing with their lamps, like some preparation work. You know, they're gonna trim whatever that trimming looks like. They're doing something with their lamps. So they're both doing the same thing. It's the same experience, same actions, same behavior. Yeah. Responding to this call. And then, so verse 8, if you want to continue.
And the foolish said unto the wise, give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out. So yeah, so after the preparation work, basically they find out they have not enough oil, the 5 foolish ones, while the 5 wise, they had enough of oil.
Yes.
So it's again compare,
So,
contrast.
oh no, wrong one. Keep doing it. So you're saying the foolish, you're saying they've run out of oil.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying they're asking the wise for oil, so that means the wise must have extra oil.
No, you
Otherwise, they wouldn't be asking.
You're doing it the wrong way. Run out of oil is on the right.
Did I do that twice? No.
There you go.
So,
Give us your oil.
so the foolish are looking at the wise, seeing that they've got extra oil, so that's why they're asking for oil, yeah?
Yeah, it's like, like in the parables usually then at a certain time see where is the selection, where you can distinguish the good one and bad one, same like in Matthew 13, for example, you can at certain point see where is the wheat and tares. So here you can actually distinguish the good one and bad one.
So that you're saying that distinguish.
Like realize.
Yeah,
like
how do you say this?
You can distinguish now between
Yeah.
the two. Wait, this is where you can see a difference between good
Yeah,
and
this is where you
visibly
can-
see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can clearly see a difference now between these two groups, because now this lack of preparation here is now taking its effect. Yeah? Now it's affecting them. Now they come to a new experience now where this lack of oil, lack of preparation is affecting their experience. Why am I saying that? It seems like they need oil to get to go meet the bridegroom. They need oil along their journey. Lamps, what does a lamp do?
Gives a light.
It gives light, and if the lamps are gone out, it makes sense that okay, we need oil to trim our lamps. So they need oil so they can have some light. If you got no light, then that means you're walking around with a lamp with no light. That means you need some light for your path.
Otherwise you fall in the ditch.
Yeah. Yeah. So now the experience is gonna start looking dark now, and now they're asking, give us some oil. After the, just before they're about to meet the bridegroom. Yeah, now they're asking for oil. They didn't ask yeah, they didn't ask yeah, they didn't ask yeah. Now they're asking. Maybe they didn't realize it would run out like in the middle of their journey. They probably thought the oil would have lasted. So they're asking, give us oil. Verse 8. But the wise
Maybe it was just ignorance.
well, we'll see what ignorance, you'll see the reward of their ignorance. Ignorance.
No, I don't think it was ignorant.
What was it, Cedric? So verse 9. So this is a response from the wise, yeah?
But do you want me to read that? Verse 9.
If you want, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. But the wise answered, saying, Not so, lest there be not enough for us and you. But go ye rather to them that sell, and buy for yourselves.
So what they're saying is, what is the wise telling the foolish to do?
To go to go and buy some oil. Go to the people who sell the oil and buy from them.
So go buy. So basically what they're saying is, we're all here. Go and buy.
Yeah.
So if they was to go and buy, let's say they're all together here, yeah? If they're going to go somewhere and buy, what takes place?
If they're going to go out and if they're going to go out and buy, what takes place?
So they're together.
Yeah.
If they go,
There's a separation there.
we see now a separation. They're saying, okay, you need to go buy, but in order to go buy, they need to separate. Because they cannot continue without the oil. So their journey is, it can't continue. So, go ye rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves. We can't give to you just in case there won't be enough for both of us. So the wise are saying, I'm not sharing. If we share, there won't be enough.
Yeah.
Basically, it seems like they need this oil to go and meet this bridegroom.
So I think Magda's point was as well, there comes a point where you see a difference. So in the previous verse we saw that the lamps went out. The foolish lamps went out, so they're in darkness now, and the wise are still alight. And so there's that there's a visible difference, and then now that leads to a separation. So we can see a difference and then a separation.
Light and darkness.
Because you actually see the lamps have gone out.
Yeah. So if you was to watch these 10 virgins walking, you'll see the difference. You'll see, now I see some of that light is gone out now. I see only 5 people. I can't see the other 5 because they're walking in darkness. I can't see them. I cannot see you. So while that's taking place, the bridegroom is coming. And just think, what is he going to see?
Yeah, it's coming to.
Yeah. So verse 10.
And also we see that it's at midnight, so no, maybe not actually. I think.
Oh, sorry, I missed that. So at midnight.
That was at verse 6. You did put it, I think, did it?
No, I didn't.
All the cries made on midnight there to the outside.
So let me just put an M for midnight. So now they're at midnight where it's dark. Now this is where they need their lamps. Yeah. It's dark. Okay, so this bridegroom, he came, he delayed. So this delay lasted up until midnight, where it gets darker and darker. If he didn't delay, would they have got here? Would they have got to midnight with no oil? Or would the oil have lasted if there was no delay?
Yes, possibly yes.
Possibly.
Oh, yes, I think so. And the reason I say that is because when they woke up, they both trimmed their lamps. There's no point in trimming a lamp that's already gone out. So as they trim it, it seems to me it goes out. That last bit of oil gets lost. So it would have lasted. So you could say that the delay was to show there's a difference. I don't know. No, maybe is that making application?
That's making
okay, I won't do
application.
that. But,
So-
No,
but in the delay, you do see a difference.
I think they realized that the lamps went out, and and if there was a delay, it wouldn't have come back on again. It would have still been out. They wouldn't have been able to see.
But maybe,
So they-
But the question was,
maybe while they were sleeping, because they fell asleep, so the lamps must have been still burning while they're sleeping.
yeah,
So that
because they trimmed the lamps.
during this time of delay, the lamps must have been burning, and it must have run out. These lots,
it's used up most of the oil.
yeah, it ran out. So this is why these are got extra oil to meet that crisis.
So
Exactly.
I think Neil's question was, if he didn't delay, they all would have had oil still. The lamps would have all still been alight when he comes.
Oh, the bridegroom delayed. I see.
Yes.
Right.
So this
I
met the
don't-
crisis.
Yeah.
So this delay, we don't know when this delay, how long it was. It could have happened in the daytime. Well, then again, it happened at night because of walking with light.
So
But
early evening. It could be 6 o'clock. It goes dark. It could be 6
yeah,
o'clock.
it probably wasn't that dark, but it went to midnight.
Early evening.
This delay lasted up until midnight and past midnight, where it gets darker and darker.
They didn't have street lights.
And it didn't have street lights.
But that's usually how they got married then, at
Evening.
night.
Yeah. So now, see a separation. This crisis, can I call it a crisis?
Yeah.
Unexpected. Unexpected. So this unexpected tarrying or delay, it caused a separation. Cause and effect. What's the cause of the separation? It's this tarrying, but also the lack of preparation. So there's a few causes of the separation, but the main cause is this lack of oil. Yeah. Verse 10, Emma.
So I'm seeing a compare and contrast here, that while they went to buy, and also a cause and effect. So they go to, well, maybe it's not cause and effect actually. Hold that thought. While they go to buy, the bridegroom comes. So that's in the foolish. While the foolish go to buy. So in the foolish column you can put the go to buy. The bridegroom comes. And then it says, they that were ready went in with him to the marriage. So the wise went into the marriage with him.
So while they're going out buying the oil,
Yeah.
too late, the bridegroom comes. Who's he come to?
Those that were ready. So I'm going to put that in the wise column.
Did he say ready?
It says, they that were ready went in with him to the marriage.
Okay, so ready.
So there's a contrast between they go to buy and they go into the marriage. So they're both going to a place, but they're going away to buy to the sellers, and they're going in with bridegroom. Yeah,
So these are ready.
and they're not ready.
These are unready. So they go
Yes,
out to
okay.
try and get ready, but they're ready too late. So they should have been ready from back here.
So use parable teaching there to say if they're ready, they're not ready. So that compare
Yeah.
and contrast the opposite. They're unready when they go and buy.
Yeah.
Because you could I think you can get that from parable teaching that they're not ready. Because they could say they're still getting ready because they're going to buy.
So who does it come to? It comes to, why does it come to, why, when he comes, why is it only 5 people? 5 women?
Because the others went to buy the oil. They went away to buy the oil.
They separated.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if he was expecting 10.
But he only finds 5.
He comes and finds 5. But he should have came and found 10. But he came and met 5. So it comes during the separation, the time of separation. This is when he comes.
Well, after the separation.
I was going to say after the separation, I think.
After, not at the time.
Yeah. That's when you can see.
Oh, I put during.
Yeah, I think we put after. Because it says while they went to
Because they
buy, so they've
separated
gone.
already, I would say. They
Oh.
already left and they were already buying. There is while they buy, I think.
Yeah.
While they went to buy.
Yeah, but isn't it a separation?
Yeah, but we said they separated in 9.
It's separated in 9,
Well,
but are they still separated?
10 they go off and separate, and while they went to buy, so they've gone to buy, the bridegroom comes while they're buying. So
Yeah.
they're already separated. That's what we're kind of arguing. They've already gone to buy when he comes. It's
Yeah.
not during.
What I'm saying is, it's come when they're separated.
Okay, so we're just making distinctions after they separate. We thought you were saying while they're separating. You're
Oh,
saying
so-
during
oh,
he
so-
means
I
during
said
the
it wrong.
separation,
During the separation,
as in the time when they're separated now. He comes in that time
Yeah,
when they're separated.
it comes in that time, in that separation. Yeah, but that separation didn't have to take place. Basically. So this is when he comes.
He comes when they're separated.
It's like a setup. There's a delay, and it's like this delay it was made to see who's made proper preparation, because we know that they need this oil for this journey to meet the bridegroom. They need oil, and it's to test who's
Got oil.
brought enough oil, who values this marriage, because they're going to the marriage. Did it say that?
Mhm.
They're going to meet the bridegroom, but they need oil, for the journey. So how did these people so far view this meeting the bridegroom? How did they view this experience, this event? Was they just foolish, or was they mindful, or can't find the words I'm trying to say. Did they take it serious or not?
They're prepared. Yeah.
These people show the seriousness of being prepared to meet the bridegroom,
Commitment.
the commitment. These should have been out buying way from the beginning, but they're doing something. What they should have been doing at the beginning, they're doing it here. They shouldn't have been doing this here. They're doing it further on down the line.
It shows really as well that they did it too late.
They're
Yeah.
serious. They're going to buy the oil now.
The oil was ready for them back here. They should have took it back here, not now, because now this oil is no good to them. Because it's come in a time where they should have had that oil. That oil would have served them something. It's this key. It's this here. This here is where that oil was needed, and now they're going to buy oil after this event. After the event, then they're going to buy the oil. It's too late. The event's already gone. It's done and gone. It's too late. Because now you've gone out to buy oil, but now time is moving on. Because now once this event's over, it's time for the next event. And that's in verse 11. Oh no, verse 10. We're still in verse 10. So, and they that went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. So they that was with the bridegroom they go together, yeah? The wise and the bridegroom go together.
You can put that in the wise column. I just put, went in with him to the marriage and door shut. Went into marriage with him. Marriage. Went into the marriage. Went in with him to the marriage, yeah. But you can put went into the marriage with him, whichever way.
Yeah, and so they went in with him. These that went in, well, they was without.
That's what I was going to say. They're not with him anymore when they go to buy.
So sadly, they're missing out on this experience, going into the marriage without him, because of the lack of preparation. They didn't take it serious. So they went out and they missed out on this experience of going in with him.
So they're not focused on the bridegroom anymore. They're focused on the oil. I'm going to get it.
Can you also put shut door there as well?
Yeah.
So while they're out,
They were, what, they not?
Huh?
What did you say? You said they're not focused on
I
something.
said they're not focused on him anymore because they were all waiting for the bridegroom and that was their focus. Now they're focused on the oil and going to get it.
Oh, right.
so there's a shut door,
And it's the wrong
Yeah.
timing.
and they're inside, and these people. It doesn't say it, but it doesn't say that outside, but it's that it says it. Because if they're inside with the bridegroom, where are they?
Outside.
Yeah.
They're on the other side of the door, where they shouldn't be there. They're somewhere where they shouldn't be. Verse 11. After came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. In fact, who's Lord, Lord? Who's that?
That's the bridegroom.
How do you know? Who shut the door?
The bridegroom.
How do you know?
And they were ready waiting with marriage and the door. It just says and the door was shut. It doesn't say anybody closed. It just says, well, you could say that what's name did it? The bridegroom came and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage.
And then it says, and the door was shut, and then the other virgins came afterwards and said, Lord, Lord. So who has the power or
The bridegroom.
the ability to open up the door?
The bridegroom.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
The doorkeeper.
Where did it say that?
It says that the bridegroom came and they were ready to go in with him and he the marriage and the door was shut.
So where does it say the bridegroom shut the door?
Well, you said who else? Well, that's what I'm saying. It just says the door was shut. But if you think about it, well,
I think it's an unseen hand.
yeah, I still think it's a bridegroom.
Unseen hand where?
No,
Unseen is-
I mean, it appears to be that unseen hand because it doesn't say who shut the door. It just says, and the door was shut.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so verse 11,
Lost one inch.
it tells us who can open the door.
Yeah, that's why I said the bridegroom.
Where did it say the bridegroom?
It's the verse before.
Well, it tells us who's in charge of opening it. Yeah.
No, read it again. Debbie, read it again.
I know, but we know the bridegroom's the Lord, don't we?
No. So read it again.
Alright.
So, and while they went in to buy, the bridegroom came, yeah? And they that were ready went in with him to the marriage. Yeah. So the bridegroom and the virgins, they went into the marriage, and then it says, and the door was shut. It doesn't say who shut the door. It just says the door was shut.
Yeah.
It didn't say the bridegroom shut the door, the virgin shut the door, whoever shut the door.
Well, someone's going to shut the door.
The last.
So, verse 11, afterwards came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord. He would. What's Lord? Is that a calling? Are they calling somebody? Who were they speaking to?
Whoever was behind the door.
And they're calling them Lord, Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Open to us. So, this person they're speaking to is called Lord, Lord. And it appears like this person has ability to open up the door. Yeah?
Yeah.
So Debbie,
Yeah.
is this Lord the bridegroom?
Yeah.
Why?
Because on verse 5 it says, well, the bridegroom tarried, they all stood and left. But it says, when we go back to verse 5, it's talking about while the bridegroom tarried, they left. And behold, the bridegroom cometh, and they all go out to meet him. So who are they meeting? The bridegroom?
The bridegroom?
Okay.
But it doesn't say the bridegroom shut the door.
Yeah, but that's who they're going to meet.
Yeah, they can meet somebody. Doesn't mean who opened the door.
Alright then, I'll put it this way. They're implying they're calling out the king to open the door then. Because they're saying Lord, Lord.
Okay, so if they're asking Lord to open up the door, why can't they open it themselves?
Good question.
Because they're locked, they're closed.
Well, it's okay. They have to ask. Okay, maybe I'm wrong, but they have to ask for the door to be opened. So my question is, if these had to ask for the door to be opened, because it's shut, why can't I just open the door? Did these guys just walk in and open up the door, or was the door opened up for them?
Because they were shut, the door was shut from the inside. There's no handle on the outside.
Yeah.
The door was opened up for the bridegroom and they went in with him.
So the door was opened up for these guys.
For the bridegroom and they went in with him.
So when these lot go to the door, they need someone to open up the door for them. So did someone have to open up the door for these lot? Or did the bridegroom open up the door and walk in?
It says, it mentions him first. The bridegroom came and they were ready and went in with him. So I'm suggesting that he opened the door. It doesn't say the virgins went in first and then he followed them. It says it the other way around.
Well, they went in at the same time with him to the marriage.
So they went in with him.
So either he opened it or someone else.
Followed him in.
So I'm trying to understand how do you work out that it was the bridegroom opening the door?
I got it from verse 10. It says the bridegroom came,
Yeah.
right? And it says, and they that were ready to the wine went in with him. So they followed him in.
Yeah, so they followed him in through the door.
That must have been open.
Hold on. So it says they followed him into the marriage, and then it says the door was shut. So maybe the door was already open, and when they came in, the door was shut. Because the event they will meet, they were waiting for the bridegroom to come to go into the marriage. So once a bridegroom there, that means the marriage can take place. Who else are they waiting for?
So they've got authority to go in now. He's come.
Yeah. He delayed, but now he's come. So was the door opened for them?
Open the door for you.
For the virgins and the bridegroom?
Yeah.
But it was me.
So now they've come now. Why is the door still open?
It said in there that we're ready, so they just go with him. He's the one who can open the door. Right, obviously they couldn't have gone in there without him.
Emma?
I was going to say similar. I was going to say the door was open for them to go in because he was there. Because before that they didn't go in. And when he comes, they go in now. So the door's open for him, really. And so he has some kind of authority that opens the door, whether he physically opens it or someone else opens it. But the door opens because he comes. And he goes in with them to the wedding, to the marriage.
Why the door was shut and why they called out to him.
Right, so now the door's shut because he's come, and that's what they were waiting for. So they don't need to wait anymore, they can shut the door. And now, yeah, I would say he's the only man in the parable, he's the only male.
He's the only one who can open the door and shut the door.
So in a sense, his presence opened the door. When he came, the door opened. Whoever opened it, the door was open because he came.
So if the door's open when he came, so that means, when these people come, is he at the door? Still?
Probably not, but he's the only one that's got power to open and close it by that, or to
Where'd
open
you
it.
get that from?
Because the door opened when he came, so it's his presence that opened it.
So who were the wise, who were the foolish asking him to open the door?
I think they're addressing him because he's the one that it opened for. So they're saying, can
But
you open it again?
Does it have to be him who's at the door?
It doesn't have to be, but we've got pre-knowledge so we know it is. No, I mean, it doesn't. Well, he's the only one in the parable that we have reference to.
We've got the person crying.
Yeah, that's true.
We've got Lord.
And it could be a doorkeeper. It doesn't have to be him.
Is Lord the bridegroom?
It doesn't have to be, no.
And who's
I don't
him?
know.
Who's him? Are we referring to Jesus?
We know the bridegroom's male, and we know Lord is addressing a male. So that's
Are
what we
we
do know.
trying to apply the bridegroom to Jesus? Jesus says bridegroom. Because Jesus is giving a parable of a marriage.
Yeah, but he says the kingdom of heaven is like.
It's
And
like,
we know that God lives in heaven.
but he's talking about humans.
And I don't know if you could apply
Yeah, you
verse
just can't say.
13 where it's says Son of Man cometh. If you could do that, repeat and enlarge, if you could.
I'm just supporting Lord.
See
Where's it
from
say
that
something?
who is the
Verse 13. So what Jesus is going to do is
Okay, so we'll do
using
it
this
later.
parable
We'll
as
go-
an example, as okay, you see this? This is why you need to watch like the virgins, because you don't know when the Son of Man will come. So these didn't expect the Son of Man or the bridegroom. They didn't expect this event to take place. So this is why you have to watch, have your extra oil in your lamps.
I think they expected that event to happen, but they didn't expect that it will be at midnight and didn't expect that will be at that time. Maybe.
Yeah, because it says you don't know the hour.
Maybe.
No, neither the day nor the
I
hour.
mean, at midnight that is traditional. I mean, when they got married,
Shall we just do the
Catholics
basis?
get married in the East at night.
In fact,
If we carry on, we don't know this Lord who he is. Maybe it was.
let's go to the verses. Let's go to verse 11.
So are we
I
concluding
think
in
it's the
11?
fact that he was studying.
So hold that point.
So in 11, can we conclude? Can we agree that we can't be definite that this Lord is the bridegroom, but they're asking someone to open the door.
So let's look into the verse, into the word, Lord.
Yeah.
When you look into the word, it says supreme in authority, that is controller, God, Lord, Master, Sir, Mr. as respectful title.
Sorry, what are you looking at, please, again?
Oh,
The definition of the Lord.
the in verse 11, we're looking at the word Lord.
Uh-huh. Thank you.
Control, but that could be the.
The owner.
And we had Esau.
Yeah, sword.
Yeah. Strong's. Yeah.
It's the God, Lord, Master, Serve.
Yeah,
Also, it means owner, one who has the control,
yeah.
the prince, the chief.
So just going by the word itself, if you look into the word of the bridegroom, you're just going to see it's a man that's about to get married. So I'm saying, are we seeing two different people between, is the bridegroom and the Lord the same person or different people?
I think they're different.
You think they're different?
Why?
Because it says, and the door was shut. It didn't say, I mean, if the bridegroom came and they were ready and they went into the marriage, he didn't go back to shut the door. It said, and the door was shut.
Yeah.
So there's someone else besides the bridegroom who shut the door.
Could it also be contrasting and comparing bridegroom to Lord? Can we say that?
No, it doesn't say that.
Okay.
It's so pretty nice to go to the bridegroom's house for a marriage.
So in verse 11, when they say Lord, open unto us, who the Lord responds and saying, but he answered and said, verily I say unto you, I know you not. He doesn't know these people. Why would you think he would say that?
Because he
In
did
verse
know.
7,
you
did
know.
you say?
Verse 12. So he knew these people, that's why he let them in. Why is he not letting them in? Because he said he doesn't know them. But these people have gone in. Could it be that he knows them? He knows the bridegroom, doesn't he? Because it's his marriage.
How do you know he doesn't let them in?
It doesn't let him in.
How does he know? You said he's not going to let them in because he doesn't know them. It doesn't say that though.
What does it say?
It just says but. I think the but tells you there's a contrast here. But. Because it doesn't say he doesn't let them in. It just says, but he answered. They say, Lord, Lord, open to us. And he says, verily, verily, I say unto you, I know you not.
What does I know you not
Verily,
mean?
I say unto you, I know you not. I don't know you.
That's what he's saying.
I'm just saying it doesn't say anything about letting them in or not letting them in. But by inference, we're saying, when he says, I don't know you, we're saying he's not going to let them in.
Louder, please.
Sorry, it doesn't say what he actually does. It just says,
Oh, yeah.
but he answers. So they're saying, Lord, Lord, open to us through the closed door, presumably. And then do we speculate he actually opens it or not? But he answers and says, because how does he know he doesn't know them? He doesn't know their voice. But either way, how he does or not, he says, verily I say unto you, I know you not. And so now you're going compare and contrast, and he's saying, so by inference we're saying he's not going to let them in, even though it doesn't say that. And then we're going to say the reason he let those in is because they knew him, or he knew them.
Yeah.
Okay.
He says, they went in. Did they knock and say, Lord, Lord, let us in? If they did, would he say, I know you not? Would he say that to the bridegroom?
I think the but tells you he's not going to. Because Lord, Lord, open to us. It doesn't say, and he said, but I don't know you. It's not like, and it's a but he answers, implying he's not going to open it.
Yeah.
In contrast to the request, he's not going to answer the request. But he answers, says, verily I say, I know you not. So he's not going to let them in.
Are you invited? But it's a marriage, yeah? Whose marriage is it?
But they were invited. They were there at the beginning with the other five, weren't they? If they're all on a level at the beginning, so either they're all invited and that's why they're there, in the party, presumably. Go on.
Or could this knowing be something to do with he wasn't here with the five?
I think it's when you say knowing, you just don't know a person like in a day or 2 days or week or month. You get to know them, it's progressive. And because maybe they weren't always around, you didn't really know them.
Well, the word, if you look into the word, the Strong's,
What-
it means to see.
So it's
Be
like
aware.
Pay
cause and
attention.
effect there, isn't it? And
Yeah.
so basically
To
they
get
were
knowledge of
ready.
stuff.
They couldn't see without the lamp, so they were in darkness. They lost the sight of him. they were concentrating on the oil at that moment, as Emma mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they lost their focus along the
And
way.
they left.
Because
They must
one of the
have lost their
definitions of
focus
to
along the way,
Oh,
because
sorry.
else they would have remembered to bring the oil to go buy the extra oil, and they didn't. So they didn't seem to be that interested or focused like the wise were.
Yeah, one of the definitions of to know, it says to get to knowledge of or understand, but it also says to have regard for someone, cherish, pay attention to.
There you go.
So he's saying, I don't know you. And you
Yeah.
flip that, you don't know me, but he doesn't know them because they haven't paid attention and had regard for. It's that kind of, they haven't got a relationship for whatever reason. But
Yeah, they haven't.
even if we don't know why,
Path.
we know that if we contrast them by compare and contrast, we know that the wise must know him, because that's why they're in there. Because you can't come in because you don't know me, but these must know me because they've come in. So either whatever it means, the wise do know him, and the foolish, for whatever reason, don't know him. But if we use the parable, we can say they don't know him because, like you say, Magda was making allusion there to the fact that at the critical time they went off and did their own thing. They weren't bothered about the bridegroom. They lost interest, in a sense. Even though it looked like they're interested because they're going to buy oil for the light so they can be there. Which is like...
So was they there for the marriage, or he's saying they were just there for the sake of it? Because
Just for the sake of it.
they all know the bridegroom, because if you're going to meet somebody, that means you must have some arrangement to meet them. Or is that, am I just adding something onto it? Okay, we'll pick it up next time.
So we do
I
know
wonder about verse 13 also. So, watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. So basically they were saying open to us, and he answered that he know them not. And I wonder another verse. So it could be that it's for them, or it's for like another group. So even if you would look at like, so you know when you can distinguish the plants or like the virgins, then it's the close of probation where the doors are shut. And then he's saying, watch therefore, for you know. So I wonder if it's like, so it's probably not anymore for them, or it's like just really like a parable, or is it like, okay, for one group the close of probation kind of like was closed, and it's for another group. You know how to understand to the verse 13.
I think if you had watched, then you would have known when he was coming. But because they didn't watch, they didn't know when he was coming.
It looks like a warning to me.
Yeah, but
I'm not sure what Magda's
like
question
the door were already shut for them, right? So that's what I'm wondering. So is it for them? Does he saying it's for them, for the people who stayed behind the door, but the door are already shut?
Okay, I think he's using them, the foolish, as an example of why you should watch.
Yes.
Oh yeah, or if it's just an example, or if it's like that it's for another group. Yeah, how would you apply that? Yeah, that's.
What do you mean by another group?
I think it's for all of us.
Are you asking, is it part of the parable, or is it a statement Jesus is making at the end of it?
Yes, that's kind of like what I mean. Yeah.
Because if it's part of the parable, it's the Lord inside the house addressing the people outside, and it's too late for them to watch because he's come.
That's what I'm thinking.
Is this
So I think he's making application.
Is this the Lord saying this, or is Jesus kind of concluding the parable?
Yeah, it's the Lord in the parable. It's not saying. Yeah, it's Jesus saying, "Watch ye therefore." I think he's concluding the parable to the people he's addressing. So it's outside of the parable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He's making application, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's too late to watch, like you say, for the foolish. So he's saying, therefore, what we get from this parable then is, can we say that that's what the therefore means? Because it says, watch therefore.
Watch therefore, lest you
For you know now the
end
day
up
the
in this
hour when the Son of Man
experience.
cometh.
You need to watch.
Yeah,
this could be
it's
you.
already for the people for who was the parable.
So what do we conclude from that then? He's saying that the foolish virgins didn't watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. They wasn't watching.
Yeah.
And also they were bringing,
So they got tired of the watch
What you said, Abby?
because they were watching.
also they weren't ready.
Because they didn't watch.
So this Lord, he must have been at the door from. That must have been his role, because if, by the definition of the word, it seems like he wasn't a part of all this. He was at the door. He was like a doorkeeper. That's what I'm getting anyway. Despite the definition of the word Lord. Authority, controller, master, the owner.
Yeah, and if you know some history about the Jewish weddings, they're going to the bridegroom's house for the marriage, so it is his house.
Whose house?
The bridegroom, I think.
Yeah.
But we'd only know that from history, that this is how Jewish weddings conducted. He gets the bride and he takes her to the bridegroom's house. The bridegroom's house, yeah. But that's a whole detail that's not really in there about getting the bride, because you've got no visibility of where the bride is. Is she in that house? Is he going in to meet the bride, or is he taking the bride in with him?
So that's questions outside the parable.
That's a question outside the parable, yeah.
Yeah.
Whose house is it? That
That's
would
way
kind
outside
of
the parable.
prove that he's the bridegroom.
So we'll close there.
Just that last thought about the foolish virgins not watching, that they're not ready. It seems time is an essential element, because he says, because you don't know the day or the hour. Is it day or hour? When the Son of Man comes. So the point is, they didn't know the exact. They didn't recognise the timing of it. So this timing is crucial, because they seem to set out at the same time as the wise. They're preparing for it. They are watching. They're watching for the first half of the night, and even at midnight they wake up and they're still watching. But then they go off to do this oil, and that's when we could probably mark they stopped watching, in that sense. But at the beginning, they all seem to be watching. So he's saying, be extremely careful, because the minute you take your eyes off,
Well, they're not able to watch
You're
because
lost.
they've got no oil.
yeah, now they're
They
crippled
have
from
to
watching.
they have to get oil enabled to watch and do what they need to do, but it's too late.
And there's nothing wrong with being focused on oil, but they should have done it at the beginning, not at the end.
You focus. What you're focusing on is at the wrong time.
Yes, focus.
Where would you focus here at the beginning? You know, what you should have been focused upon at the beginning, is your focus now.
So you can say they're focusing on the right thing at the wrong time.
Yeah, right thing, wrong time.
Interesting.
When you focus on the right thing at the wrong time, it can be disaster.
Disaster.
Wrong message at the wrong time. No, the message at the wrong time is a disaster. Basically. So the oil is good, but oil at the wrong time, or going to get oil at the wrong time, is a disaster. Even though getting oil is what you need, it's a thing that's needed, but at the wrong time, going to get it at the wrong time is crucial. Is
Yes, so, I mean,
They should have
that
focused on
means to
this.
show that they didn't actually watch. There's some way along that pathway that they didn't focus, they didn't watch, they didn't listen, they didn't hear. Because if they did, right from the beginning, they would have had the extra oil. They would have set up with the extra oil. And so somewhere before that, they didn't watch.
they didn't compare and contrast. Didn't say like, oh, half of us we don't have extra oil, but we see the other half of the group they got extra oil. Why? What do they know that we don't?
So they should have been focusing on oil back there.
Was they together in?
And they weren't. They were focused on Christ, perhaps, but they weren't focused on the oil. And now at the end, they're focused on the oil, which is on themselves.
You can ask why, because the wise didn't tell them, listen, you need extra oil. I don't.
This is them going through their issues, focused on the oil.
Could you be then going through the issues?
They're not going through their issues, and now they decide at the end they're going to go through the issues, and it's too late.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, was they working together?
No, probably not.
Why didn't the wise tell them, listen, get extra oil? Why are we bringing extra oil? You know, they must
Yeah,
have.
they paid no heed.
They must have knew they need extra oil. So why did they tell these, or did they ignore? Was
The
they
warning
ignoring?
signs.
Did they just reject the warning sign? Well, I don't know. Did they just not take heed or listen?
Well, I think we could all answer that ourselves, internally or individually.
So experiences, circumstances show us what's wrong, what's going wrong, or a lack of hearing. It takes the circumstances to arise to show us what's really there in us, what's in our hearts, what have we prepared to do, it really shakes us basically. So we see a shaking here. We see these that are prepared for this circumstance. So they haven't been hit. These that have been hit. That's what circumstances do. That's what certain events do. It shows us what we're lacking or what we need. It shows us where we're at. So we'll close there.
Is there a way you didn't?
Yeah. That was a blessing.
Yeah.
Very profound that.
Yeah. Jesus.
So, anyway.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for parable teaching. We thank you for this parable. We thank you for the warning that you have given us that we should watch. Help us to understand what that means in our dispensation. We recognise that in this parable, the foolish virgins focused on oil at the wrong time. And we pray that we would do the right thing at the right time, and that you would transform our hearts, our characters, that we would be ready for heaven, that we would make that preparation necessary to not only save ourselves but to save others around us. Lord, help us to be an influence for good, to spread light everywhere, and to really embrace this message that you're giving us, that we would examine ourselves and see whether we be in the faith. Please be with each one of us and bless us, especially these Sabbath hours, we pray. And we also pray for the camp meeting, that everything would go well and that you would put your words in the messengers' mouths and stir our hearts, Lord, to continue on this journey. We thank you now, and we ask in the precious name of Jesus. Amen.